videos from Hot Shot.
This video is being live streamed.
Si, senor.
We are now live.
Si, senor.
Are we there?
I got some blue diamond I'm going to send off for testing as well. The PAO base. I guess
like
this stuff is supposed
Blue
to be 100%
Diamond. What is that?
PAO.
Like Blue Devil?
It's Hot Shot Secrets diesel oil. But listening to the gentleman on the podcast from Hot Shot Secrets, I think he was on Diesel podcast, he was saying that it's a full PAO oil.
That's the one DS was running.
Yeah. So I'm gonna send it off for lab testing, because you can't get little quarts. The guy had to buy a whole jug and send it to me, and he was like, "I want you to test this," and I was like, "Oh, I'm not even gonna be able to use this stuff." So I'm gonna have to give it to somebody.
I already sent the virgin sample of that stuff off to
And
Blackstone.
you didn't send me the results.
Yeah, I did.
When?
It's in your email. You said email everything over to you.
What's up,
Hola,
Blue Diamond?
senor.
Yeah.
So you know what we'll do is, if it is there and I just forgot about it, I'll have that as a backup, and then I'll take the new fresh results and I'll compare it to what you got, and I'll be like, hey, DS from DS Trucks, this is what he got, this is what I got. Let's compare the results and see if we have similarities. See if we got consistency.
That one and the Amsoil one that's sent off.
What was it? 540 or 1540?
540.
Yeah, I think that's the stuff I got too.
Hello. Welcome. Chubb, BP, everybody checking in. Brandon, Brian, Bearded Fortech, LO lurking. We got a few guys lurking in the background doing some extracurricular scientific studies and research. But what I want to know, if you guys had the choice right now, and boom, your wife gave you the okay, and you can get the baddest, biggest, bulkiest, do-dadded up, Super Duty 2023 6.7 high output. Maybe you don't want that. Maybe you want the Zola. What would you get one? Would you not get one? Is DS still awake? DS looks like he's pondering something. What everybody doesn't know is DS actually has something up his sleeve. He has been hypocritically kicking himself in the Patuski for getting rid of his 450. But little does anybody know, his new 450 has just been built, but he doesn't have it yet. And which means he's going to be part of the PAO Hot Shot diesel maintenance. He's going to be able to get his 2124 filter game on, not double gasking it, double clutching, granny shifting.
Well, it's a tough one because I haven't picked it up yet. It's just It's been built. That's it. It's not delivered or anything like that. But it is a high output 450 XLT. We'll see what happens.
Maybe a 21 or 22 so I could get the Sync 4. Okay. Go deep. What's up, buddy? I haven't talked to you in a while. He likes his 2014. He's got it do-dadded up. But the front end is fugly. Okay.
I kind of like them. They're growing.
Okay.
I kind of
What
like
do you think, Rich? I get the Transit 350 tall boy. Man, I'm done with them.
What did you ask me just now? The kids are screaming in the background, so I had to ask Mom to tell them to pipe down some.
What did you think?
He's frozen.
Oh, the internet's no better
audio.
than.
Oh no!
He's gone.
Oh, that's so bad.
Here you go.
What was he asking me, Cody?
He was
Wait,
asking you,
if
what do you
this
think?
connection
You
is
think
good
about the
and
front
it
end.
actually froze
Oh,
up?
new duty. Yeah, which one? Oh, right.
Just rewind.
This sounds like a McDonald's drive-through. This isn't cool, man.
Hey, turn the Wi-Fi back on and see if it clears up.
That's so bad. Like literally seconds before it froze up, I made a. Oh no!
Oh,
But we're
Oh,
still
no.
live.
Oh, Cody's the host now. Hang on.
A-Rod's the host.
There
No,
we
it
go.
said you were talking. You were host.
He's back. He's back.
Are we there?
You've got
What is
mail.
going on? Here comes Mazda man.
you on dial-up over there?
Dude, I don't know. I think those storms straight knock some stuff silly. Detroit, we have a problem. I think we do.
Hey, fashionably late.
No.
What's up, dude?
No.
Unfashionably late.
That's okay. That's like your thing now. It's your thing.
This is like how I am in real life. So you just
Dude.
anytime you need me to be somewhere, just tell me 15 minutes early.
Like, are we going to
Eric.
be on time or are we going to be on I Do Cars time?
Well,
Oh, we're on I Do Cars time.
you just gotta understand that about me. That's all.
Eric,
just-
I was 2
Um,
hours late to my own live stream once.
That
Yeah,
was funny.
Cliff let me know it was happening. Like I was messing around with the live stream feature on the phone, and I didn't know what I did, but I went live, and then I put the phone away. I was like, okay, I'm not going to do that right now. I was like tinkering with the idea. Like 2 hours later, Cliff texts me and he's like, dude, are you ever going to show up? And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, he goes, there's like 300 people waiting in your live stream right now for you to show up. And I'm like, no,
Get
no
out.
way.
Dude,
Yeah,
that's so
I had to
funny.
show up.
Oh
I didn't
my
even-
God.
I didn't plan on it at all. I was like, you guys, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to start a live
You're
stream.
like coming to the screen. You're like, is anybody there?
Like, hey, is
I
it
had
okay
the
to come
same-
in? What's up?
Well, I mean,
had this thing-
hopefully your audio and video were synced, and you didn't have to restart your live 3 times.
No.
That
Oh,
was
I did the
funny.
same
I'm
thing.
sorry.
I was
Like,
trying to set up the thumbnail for there was like people were asking me for a while, for like weeks, to do a live stream and answer the basic questions. And I finally got around to it. And I didn't like the thumbnail, and I didn't like the thumbnail, and I didn't like the thumbnail, and I kept playing with it in the gallery. And then when I went live, I was like, what are all these people already doing here? And then one of my moderators was like, dude, while you're setting it up, when you go into that queue, it already lets people know that you're about to go live. So they're sitting there waiting for you. And I was like, oh, I
Yeah,
didn't know.
yeah,
I had no idea.
it's all right. First time I rode a snowmobile, I hit a tree. That's just how it goes.
Ooh.
It's fine. There was millions of trees. I just hit one. It's fine.
This guy says he wouldn't take one if it was paid. Oh,
What, a 23?
seems to be.
Is there some 23 hate going on here?
A lot of guys don't like the way that it looks.
Oh,
I mean, it's something obviously it's going to have to grow on us because there's nothing that we're going to do about it. But I think it's growing on me. Maybe more front end. I have both a 20 and a 22, 23 side by side, and was able to go back and forth, looking at the body lines and the hood lines, and it was really interesting to see
I
how
have a
much is.
question for you with regards to the 20 and the 23 being side by side.
Cheerio, good mate.
So they have that STX package with the LED headlights, and then let's say a platinum package with the LED headlights. Are those just the surrounds and then halogen bulbs inside with the STX package, or is it an
No.
blown LED?
They're LED low beams, high beams, and LED C rings and turn signals. But
Okay.
everything on the back is all incandescent.
What do you mean on the back? On the back end of the truck, the taillights?
Correct. That's just how
Okay.
like Joel's is. It's black. Black. The back is all. Both bottom and lower lamps are all incandescent.
which I did find out, you cannot just get LED taillights and put those into the truck. It won't
No.
work.
Yeah.
if the harness was the same, you would still have to program it to the BCM. It's weird. Hang on a sec.
One feature that I saw about the 23s that I didn't like, if that truck is in drive and you open the door, it goes to park.
Oh, I hate that. Oh, I
Mhm.
hate that.
Yeah, that's the
Hey,
worst.
wait a second.
How are we
Isn't
supposed to
it-
use those as bait cars?
You can, I think it can be disabled, like in service mode or something. But I guess they're all different. I don't know. I find it to be highly annoying, especially trying to pull onto like an alignment rack or something. You
Yeah.
open the door,
Oh
and
yeah.
and then the thing
Yep.
slams itself into park, and you're like, what happened? Like,
Yeah.
you gotta get back in, put it back in
Isn't
drive.
there a
and not
specific way you got to do it though? Like
there's a-
when if the door's already open and you put it down in the drive, it already knows the door is open and you want it there. But if the door's closed and you leave it in drive and then open it, it thinks it's a safety issue. I think there's one versus the other. There's a specific way that it actuates.
You can leave the door open, like you said.
Yeah.
You can. If you're in a Dodge, if you look in the lower left-hand panel, pull that panel down. There's a yellow handle in there. Pull the handle, and it keeps the transmission in neutral.
Yeah.
So
On the my BMW has the open the door and slams you in park, and then you hit your head on the A pillar, get mad.
wow.
What my buddy does, that he's actually the guy that edits my videos. He used to be a BMW tech. Is he had a carabiner on his keychain that was the same diameter. He ground it down to the same size as the striker, and then whenever he got in a car they had to drive with the door open, he just plugged it right into where the striker was, so he could drive with the door open, because that's the door was open.
My question though is,
That's
I don't know if the system is sophisticated enough to know, but how many times you get in the truck and the door is like partially closed, you go to driving, and then all of a sudden the door's open. That's not going to put it in park, is it? It's partially open. And then you open it and shut it.
I mean, if it thinks the door is open, then it'll put it in park.
Not if it's moving.
But if it's moving, the system's smart enough to know that it's not gonna slam the vehicle in park. It's gonna give you warning messages and stuff.
You're gonna be ripping parking paws off of transmissions.
It's like the push button system. If you push the button to turn the car off while you're driving, it doesn't do anything.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. So it's not going to throw you in park.
Didn't that whole
It doesn't
feature
move.
didn't that whole feature have to come about because people were running themselves over in their garages?
Yep.
Like they were getting out and the car was still in drive, and it would just go after they hopped out, and it would just
Yeah, when they came out with the
happening?
turn knobs, the turn dial.
They
type of
forget to put it in park.
So it's a
It was
Band-Aid.
Dodge's fault.
Yeah, it's a Band-Aid for a problem that didn't used to exist.
Mm-hmm.
I think the whole push button thing though, if you were to sit there and hold the push button down while you're driving, it will disable the system by holding it down instead of like just pushing it to turn it off. Because I think back in the day there was an issue with, remember that police officer or whoever it was that was going down the interstate with his family in that Toyota, and he ended up killing everybody in the car because he was having brake failure problems and he was running on a highway. And a lot of people were like, that particular vehicle that he was in was a push button vehicle, and he could have actually reached down there and held that push button long enough and it would have disabled the system. And I think push buttons are supposed to work that way in an emergency, to where you can hold them down.
But who knows that?
Right.
Yeah, I didn't know that till you just said that.
But and just like not too long ago, there was a bunch of Ford techs that watched my video and they were like, dude, I didn't even know we could put our Super Duties and our F-150s in engineering mode. Like, I had no idea. How did you find that? How did you find that out? And I was like, can't really tell. I talked to a lot of people that work for Ford and stuff like that I don't dime their names out, that we're friends, and I learned stuff as I go along. And that's how you put the vehicle in engineering mode, so you can literally read live trans temp and everything, so you don't have to wait till it's overheating to monitor these things. You can actually see them right now. You can actually see DTCs are stored in the system.
That's cool.
Ahead of time without even pulling the vehicle in. You can see 0 count DTCs, so you know that there's nothing going to be there when you hook the scanner up. So there's a bunch of things, and there's other things I don't even know what the numbers and stuff mean yet. And I was talking to an engineer guy, And he basically was like, you know, you can hold the OK button, hold it down for like 5 seconds on your Super Duty, your F-150s, and even other Fords as well, and then stick the key in the ignition, or have the key in the ignition already. Hold the OK button down, and or push the start button after 5 seconds, and continue holding the OK button, and the cluster automatically goes into engineering mode, and then you can actually switch through and look at your trans temps, look at different things that are there, DTCs that are set. You can actually adjust your accuracy of your fuel mode and stuff like that. So if you're driving and you've got a real good idea on your AFE count or your fuel count and stuff like that, and it's a little off, you can adjust it up, you can adjust it down to make the vehicle actually read more accurate all through that engineering mode if you know what you're doing.
Don has a good question. It says, "Hey Rod, is there any wiring that goes to the upfitter switches go to the rear of the truck, Super Duty?" No, the upfitter switches are only, the ends are only in the passenger, or sorry, in the engine compartment passenger side. If it's a 20 plus, and they just leave you the ends that would be powered when the switch is on. So you would have to run your wiring to the back of the vehicle with the appropriate length of wire, and then you would hook up to whatever upfitter switch you want. And as soon as you turn that on, your lights or whatever you want will go on.
I like that video you just did, Aaron, because I didn't even realize that wire in the back in the harness was for the bed cap lights, that you could use it for. And I was like, what? No way. Yeah.
No way.
No way.
Dude, I seen a video from that guy tonight, and I was like so mad after I watched that video, because I was like, you mean to tell me I've been dragging airlines and extension cords across the shop for I don't know how long, getting stuck under tires all the time. And he does a skit where a guy shows taking tennis balls and shoving them under the corners of the rubber tires, and now you can drag your airline all around the vehicle, and it never gets stuck under it anymore because it glides right across the tennis ball material and never gets stuck.
No way.
I was like, no way, man.
The bucket one killed me. I saw that one where he got two buckets that are stuck
yeah.
together, and he uses the air nozzle to get them apart. Man, the time I spent messing with those.
Did you see the spray can one, the spray paint can? You can turn the nozzle on the spray can and make it a wider spray pattern.
I could see that.
You line it up.
Interesting.
There's another guy that will see his videos sometimes, and he'll show an alternate to it. So instead of the blowgun in the 5-gallon bucket, he said, so like you guys are stacking your 5-gallon buckets, and if they're going to be outside for a while, so if you don't have access to a blowgun, if you just take a little shot of WD-40 and just hit the ring where it's going to sit down in the top, when you go back to it next time, it seals it in. You just pull the bucket right out of there, and you don't need a blowgun or anything. You just pull it right out. And it's like,
pull that bucket right out.
No way.
You mean after 30 years? No way. That's so funny, that guy.
Yeah.
So good.
He blew up. I remember he used to have like 30, 40,000 followers. And the next thing I know, after a few months of watching him, this guy's got 7.5 million or something like that followers now. And I'm like, what? No way.
No.
Yeah.
What is up with the 23 Super Duty Lariat rear taillights being 2 LED bulbs instead of LED screen? Look at the platinum trim, and it has DRL surround on the taillights. I don't understand your question. I don't know. Howdy. What do you guys all know who Chris Fix is? He's a very well-respected content creator in the automotive community. And I was I think tagged in a TikTok post where Mr. Subaru kind of was going after him.
It was brutal.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah, he didn't kind of. No, he straight out called out
Mr. Helmet. Where like,
yeah,
bro,
it was
on,
that was
man.
bad, man.
Come on,
So
man.
first of all, let's break down a little. That's what he does, and a lot of people don't realize it. is the guy draws attention to himself and the negativity because that's his personality, and his following likes that. But not too long ago, the dude was saying something about dealer techs, and I'm sitting there listening, and I thought to myself, you know what? I've heard him do this 1,000 times, but now this hits close to home. So I got to check this guy. And I checked this dude hard, just like he does everybody else. I checked this dude hard, man. And he came to the comment section. Well, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it like that. I wasn't saying all dealer techs. Oh, who's scrambling to pick up their nuts now, Chief? And he's like, oh, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. And I said, no, that's exactly what you said. And you just got called out for it. And now you're backtracking. And then a lot of people seen my video and they were like, you know what? You're right. That is what this guy does. And he's been consistently doing that with people for a long time. And a lot of us have had enough of it because we're out here trying to help people. Well, this guy's trying to clown and act like he's the god.
I volunteer. Get him to do me next.
He did it to Mason.
Yeah, and a lot of guys were like, "Yeah, I could use the clout. I could use him to come after me a little bit."
Yeah, let's get this party started. This might be fun.
Well,
Yeah,
he couldn't take what I was saying, so he blocked me immediately. And then everybody in the comment section that has like hundreds of thousands of followers were like, "You're one of the guys that was actually able to get through to him and prove that he's like an embarrassment." And that's what he does to people. Once you get the best of him, he'll just block you and send you on your way, and he'll never think about you again. But he got that little bit of notoriety from you, and then you embarrassed him, so then he has to block you, so then he doesn't have to deal with you. Yeah, that's how he is, though.
All right.
And you know what? To be honest with you, I like Chris Fix. He's a nice guy, but people have asked me before on social media, what do you think about him? I think he's a nice guy. I think he's enjoyable to watch. His editing is really good. His videos are really good. He's not a technician. When you do what we do every single day and you watch somebody from the outside perform a task, it's entertainment for us. It's not the fact that they're doing everything right or they're professional. It's getting to see somebody else do the job that you have to do every single day. And I'll sit there and I'll watch them like, yeah, you didn't do that right. But I like watching. Yeah. And you didn't really do that right at all. And you made that way harder than what it had to be. But yeah, this is enjoyable. And you just don't say anything about it. But I was watching one of Chris's videos one day. It was a 543 valve. And he and another shop were doing some mass airflow testing. And he said something in the video like, well, the mass airflow is reading like 3.1 grams or whatever. So that's pretty normal for this vehicle. So, and I'm thinking to myself, what are you even talking about right now? You and the other guy both in the video are way off with how you're even diagnosing this vehicle. That's not even close to what that should read. So I'm like, yeah, the gram per second should be about what the liter is of the vehicle. So if you got a 5.4, you'd typically be 4.9, 5.1, 5.2, something like that. 5.4.
No way.
That's about what it would read. So if you're looking at MAF readings, they should read about what the liter of the vehicle is. And I brushed it off like this guy doesn't deserve any hate from me, but he definitely doesn't know a lot about what he's talking about, but he doesn't deserve to get attacked by people and stuff like that. You know, Mr. Subaru,
you know what, man?
Me,
how many of us learned by being wrong?
I'm wrong every day. I mean,
yeah,
I go out there trying to be wrong.
The thing is, we take it and we learn from it, and then we help other people learn from it. But there's so many like people on here that have like really big followings that they can't take the criticism, or it would make them look bad if they admitted that they were wrong. So it's easier for them to just block you and send you on your way. And then maybe for a split second, they seen your comment and like, man, glad I blocked him. But the next time I explain this, I'm going to know how to explain it right. So
yeah,
right.
I think Chris Fix is doing such a different thing though. Like he'll get under there and repaint a bunch of stuff where technicians don't do that kind of stuff. And it's just like a vehicle owner. It's kind of cool to see some of his ideas.
He's got the time to do it.
Got the time to do all that.
And he's got the following that's all he has to focus on. He doesn't have to go to work and do what we do every single day. That's literally his content. He's worked so hard and grinded it out so hard. And I commend the guy for that. He's done an amazing job. That's his life now. That's his job. And he can do literally whatever he wants. And he's worked hard for it. I give him that.
I'm
was
gonna
on the Graham
learn you,
Stephan
though.
show. That Graham Stephan, the guy in California or whatever. And they asked Chris, you ever had any training or anything like that? And he said, no, I kind of learned on my own. He admitted it. He said, I was
Yeah.
never working in a dealership or anything. I kind of learned on my own, just fiddling with things.
Yeah.
I
So,
like him.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Definitely worked for it.
Yeah, I don't understand. I guess I don't get, and it's never been something I've been around, is people that when you're trying to show them the right way, like say you've done it the wrong way, you understand why people do it the wrong way and say, hey, I know it seems like this, but it's really this way.
Yeah.
There's 90% of the population are really receptive to it, but that 10% I just cannot wrap my mind around. It's not, you didn't say, hey, you're a complete joke, you don't know what you're doing, but that's the way they take it. And there's no way to come off and say, hey, look, I've been in your shoes, this is I've done that too, but this is really how it happens. There's no way to do that to those people to where it doesn't come off as you're not a joke, you're a joke or whatever.
Eric, this is the same. You're talking about the same guys that think Pennzoil and Quaker State is the same oil from 1970. I mean, it's literally the same guys that are like, what? I never put that freaking junk in my truck. It turns to paraffin wax. And I'm like, you do know that Pennzoil has one of the purest stocks on the market of any oil, right? It's called a gas to liquid formula for a reason. They've pretty much engineered a complete different way of making oil, and it's nowhere near what it was 40 years. Man, I never put that junk. My grandpa's uncle's aunt's uncle brother said that stuff, I'll never use it. And I'm like, oh my God, why am I freaking talking to these people?
Can't teach old dog new tricks, man.
Why am I talking to these people?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey,
I mean,
Tom asked me real quick. Tom asked me if I went to school first, and no, I didn't go to school first. I took a job at a tire shop slinging tires, and then I got a better job offer at another tire shop where I also got to change oil, and then I learned how to do alignments, and then I did tires and oil changes and alignments for a year, and then they started sending me to classes, or Napa would send to classes, and years went on. Then I got a dealership job, and then I got actual dealer training. But it's always more classes. Even in the independent world, you can always take a class with somebody. They're out there. So a lot of people start off, well, all of us, we all started off not knowing what we're doing.
Yep, nobody's born with it.
Part of the training that we have to do at work. I mean, not everything is in the books. There's a lot of on-the-job training that obviously we have to do. But when we have new systems come out, or electronics, or like I was talking to you guys about the Tron network, all that stuff is in online. What do we call them? Web-based courses that take hour and a half to do. Ford Boss is taking them, Cody's taking them, and Ford Beard Tech, when he was at the dealer, he had to take them. It's just kind of a multiple choice or technician A, technician B type thing.
And you got to take them no more.
Yeah, got to take them no more.
Suckers.
It's funny that Rich put out that video about about a week ago when you put out that video about going to FACT or something like that. And I talked to you later that day. I didn't go to FACT. I actually started working at the dealer, did all my web courses, and then had them send me to school. That's what you were talking about in your video.
Well, there was a guy that said, in today's day and age, with as many jobs as there are out there, it's kind of silly for young guys and gals that are trying to get into this industry, or people that are, have some age to them, to try to go to school first before you go to the dealership. Because if you can get in at the dealership progressively over, 2, 3, 4 years, you're going to have some pretty decent classes under your belt, especially if it's a decent dealership to where they're paying you your salary to go to the class for the week. You're getting a vehicle, you're getting your room and board paid for. And if it's not close enough, I used to have to get sent several hours away. So I would have my week's pay paid to me. They'd give me a dealer used car to take with dealer plates. And then they'd put me in a hotel, and I'd stay, 3, 4, 5 days in class.
And then I'd give you money for food.
Right. You'd get money for food. The owner of the company would send me with $500 for the week, and he'd say, give me back whatever you want, or whatever you have left over, and don't spend it, on stupid stuff. Try to eat some good quality food. Don't go to, he wanted me to actually go eat decent food while I was in training and stuff like that. And, you
Hell
get
yeah.
so you're basically getting paid to go to school while you have a full-time job at a dealership. And it's a progressive thing, that the same amount of time that you would have in a couple years, tech school or something, you could go to the dealer. If you had an active dealership that's willing to really pump out the schooling, you could be done in a few years as well.
One of my subscribers left a comment. I actually sent a screenshot to Eric. He was asking me, do I go to school for it or do I go to the dealership? And he's already in school for the Mopar program.
Yeah.
And he wants to do Ford. He's like a Ford fanatic. And I said, go to a Ford dealership and talk to a service manager. Tell him what you want to do.
Yeah.
And I talked to him for a little bit, and he found
Maybe
out,
all over him.
He found out that the school he's in actually does the Ford program. So he transferred over to the Ford program. He's getting his ASE master. He's getting his bachelor's degree in automotive society or whatever. He's actually running a lube tech position right now. He was like, you altered my future and didn't even know it. And I thank you for that. And I was like, that kind of hit home, man. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it was pretty cool.
The pro and the cons of that is the pro is that you go to the dealer and it's going to take you a while to get through the courses and stuff like that. If you're just focused on dealer training, if you go to the classes ahead of time through a college, if you can get into the programs through like a local community college or something like that, you could be done in 3 or 4 months, because they're going to roll you from class to class to class to class to class, and you're never going to stop. Now, it's going to cost, though, because that's not going to come out of the dealership's pocket. It's going to come out of your pocket. So if you can wait a few years, maybe even 3 or 4 years, but you got to make sure you get in a dealership that is active in taking care of the employees, because if you've got 15, 20 techs in a shop plus, and you kind of feel like you're just a number sometimes, more than likely you're just going to be a number, and you're barely going to get sent to school.
I mean, had to prove to them that I wanted to do it. So
not only you could go to school, the dealer I went to work for, they actually paid for your college tuition after they hired you.
Finally.
But I didn't have any tuition, so they didn't pay me anything.
Will says the service manager at Libertyville Ford by me told me that Ford is starting a mentorship program for kids in school, kids looking to get into the shop.
Ford's trying to do a lot of stuff right now because Ford's losing senior techs.
Yeah.
They're losing a lot of techs, and they need to retain guys like Aaron that are at that level. It's important to keep the seniority and stuff with the company, because you pass that on to new people coming in, and you continue, because Aaron's still young, so he's going to be doing this for a long time. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of guys are leaving because of the way the industry is right now, and they're trying to do so many different things to retain people and bring more people in, but it's like pulling teeth.
It's hard to find anybody for anything in this industry. I mean, it's just how it is.
I mean, UTI is probably the fastest way to become a Ford master tag, in my opinion. A year and a half.
Get an associate's degree?
No, you don't. But a year and a half, you have everything but 3. You have everything but 3 classes done.
When I came out of UTI, I had more certifications than every single guy in the dealership. And it was just a few classes that they had to send me to finish up everything else. And that was it. I had more than anybody there. I understood more about what was going on with the computer systems at the time than a lot of the guys there, because the training and stuff was fresh in my head. And I just got done doing a lot of the modules and going through all the training with some of the advanced stuff or whatever. So when I went into the dealership, literally the first dealership I went to where I was using all this stuff, a lot of the guys in the shop were like, what are you doing? How are you getting into these different modes and pulling up all these different PIDs and stuff like that? And I was like, you guys don't know how to do this stuff? A lot of them down south that don't have high volume, that aren't outside bigger cities and stuff like that, a lot of the techs didn't know half the stuff I was doing. But then you go to a bigger city that's more populated, more training involved, most of those guys all know how to do exactly what you're doing. But smaller towns, smaller Ford dealerships, a lot of those guys don't even have half of the training that they need to actually be there. Some of you guys could roll in and take advantage of that and get paid more than anybody in some of those towns. Like when I went in and I was working there and all the training and schooling and UTI and stuff, the college and stuff I had, I was the only one on the floor that can work on every single thing that came in that door that was certified. So they needed me to be there. It hurt them when I left. They literally were crippled when I left because they had nobody to make up for those certifications. So that's how critical any one of your positions or anybody for that matter in any dealership setting can actually be.
Where did it just go? Where did it just go? Jesse says, what is one of the biggest problems you fix on a 6.7 that you might noticed in general? I think one of the biggest things that I have to repair are these GD upper oil pans. Like, for real already. I know some people don't mind pulling the trans, but I mean, once it's out, it's out. It's just freaking another upper oil pan. Man.
We did an 11 oil pan on this thing.
Oh, look at that. Look at that.
Yeah, so what's that? Are you building that for somebody, Cody?
Yeah. He bought all the parts and we got it in the frame last weekend in 7 hours in the sun, dying. We used his truck. We used his utility truck to put the engine in it. That's
awesome.
Cool.
I would have liked to have seen that.
Did you do rotating assembly and everything, or just the reseal?
He got it. Well, this truck had a 0016. He did a tune and spun the crank gear 20 minutes later. Put 100 horse tune on a truck that had a good billion idle hours on it.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it totaled out to be like 400,000 miles in idle hours. It was
So
oil rig
put
truck.
a new rotating assembly in it.
He bought he bought a short block and heads from Midwest Diesel, and they built him a long block with a welded crank and cam, so it won't spin anymore.
Nice.
And it's studded. Came with a turbo. Came with the oil pan kit. They call it the Carnage kit, I guess. So it's like the best of all the 6.7s in one motor.
Nice.
But it's one of those motors that you can't get right now. So yeah, he's lucky. He's got a motor that 3,000 people are waiting on right now.
Yeah, that and ain't that the truth?
That and those bolts right there, for the flywheel. That was
What's
in
up
the
with
kit.
all the Ford techs messaging me lately saying that they can't get certain spark plugs, they can't get certain belts, they can't get certain hoses. A lot of the stuff they just can't even touch.
I've been looking up 23 stuff and can't even. There's not even any part numbers. Invalid part number. Unavailable. Yeah.
One guy said, I'm a Ford tech. I'm a semi-skilled Ford tech. And he said, I just looked up a set of spark plugs for whatever specific model vehicle. I forget what it is he was working on. And he said, my parts guy told me he can't even get spark plug wires for what I was working on. It's like, what?
Unreal.
How can you not get spark plug wires? We don't even use anything with spark plug wires other than 1 or 2 vehicles right now. How is it that hard to find freaking spark plug wires?
I mean, you can't even get the crankshaft bolts. There's 80,000 of them on back order right now.
I heard for the 7.3 Godzilla, a little bird who might happen to work in a certain building that has to have these engines on a stand running said that they were scrambling because one of the engines went down because the lifter failed.
Oh.
And they have determined that the supplier did not put enough bearings in the lifters.
Oh,
And
no.
they don't know how many units were made.
Wait, what did I miss here?
Are we talking the GM lifter fiasco all over again, but on the Ford side? So now
Wait,
all
is
the
this
GM
7.3
guys-
stuff?
Yeah.
One of my coworkers, well, one of my managers just bought one, and that's not good to hear.
So now all the GM guys are going to look back at us and say, now you get a taste of
Yeah,
our
that's exactly. Yeah,
$510,000.
but you guys don't have DOD, so at least the lifter can only
No.
fail one
No,
way
no,
instead of two
no.
ways.
We do now.
Yeah,
We
are they
do
different
now.
lifters? Are they different? Are they
But-
DOD lifters?
We don't do the DOD that way.
Well, how does it work?
There's an actuating rod on the back of the 5 liters that actually come out underneath and take up for the space under the lifter. So as it's pushing up and down on the cam lobe, it can activate it. And then when it's done, it takes the oil pressure away. So it retracts and pulls itself out. And now it's sitting there free floating. So Ford actually did DOD the way it should have been done originally.
Well, GM just wanted to show the entire world how not to do it.
Wait, I mean, you mean GM and both
And Chrysler
Dodge at the same time? Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It was a race to the bottom.
You should see the guys come unglued when they I was telling them earlier before you got on, Eric, when they see me put an FL500 on an LS or something like that. They're like, you put a motorcraft filter on a GM, and I'm like, yeah, it's a better filter than what you guys are using.
I put monocraft filters on Erica's Saturn when she had a Saturn.
Yeah. And once I explained to people, and then they actually sit down and they listen and they watch. They're like, oh my God, you're right. Yeah. You're putting that cheap $5 filter from GM on there, and we put our cheap $5 motorcraft on there that's 10 times better.
I had DOD on that, but this doesn't have DOD on it no more. That
has a on the front of it now.
That is
what blower's on it?
A 2.3 Whipple, a Whipski.
So on what? You're still, this is like a cliffhanger. I'm falling here.
5.3 Tahoe 07.
Oh, okay. Is it still a 4-speed truck?
Yeah. It's a 6L80E or 6L.
No, is it
a 4L60E?
Yeah.
And
so yeah, how does that transmission like that Whipple?
I did everything that I could do before I needed to do anything to the trans. I put a cam in it, did some LS valve train, put different lifters in it, did the DOD, headers, Y pipe, full exhaust.
What cam did you put in it?
A TSP stage 3 truck cam.
Nice.
It's a 218, 220 lift. I think a 112 LSA. It's got some good chop to it when it's up to operating temperature.
Yeah, that's good. I don't have that big a cam in mine. I was scared to go bigger than I did a BTR2 in my 11.
Okay.
And I'm actually tearing the 5.3 out of it this year. I got some 6L80 problems that I'm scared to fix. So I don't know what I'm going to do for a transmission. Obviously, I'm going to put a 6L80 back in it, but it flares so bad between 2 and 3 and 3 to 4 that it will bark the tires at 70 miles an hour.
Oh,
and I mean, and it doesn't make 600 horsepower; it makes 350 horsepower. So it's broken.
I know that.
I mean, no, yeah, they do when they see the truck still there and making all this racket. They're like, wow, I can't believe that broke. Oh, that's broken. That's why that happened.
Going nowhere fast.
I mean, it's pretty quick. It's probably a mid 14-second truck. It's okay for what it is, but it's getting a 6.2. I bought a Core 6.2 that only had a bad lifter, so I'm gonna jam a 6.2 in it and some 243 heads and make it retarded for no reason. I don't know why. It doesn't. It's not. I gotta fix it.
I just had a dude not too long ago message me, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I just put a new 6.2 in my Denali and all that." And I was like, "Why'd you do that?" And he was like, "Well, the engine rotates it fine and everything, but the oil thing started fluctuating and it started giving me the warning light and stuff like that." And I said, "You put an engine in because of the oil indicator and the loss of oil pressure?" Well, yeah. I was like, "You do know those things had a sensor on the back of the intake that you could pull out and the screen would plug up and it would cause this fluctuation and warning lights and everything else, right?" There was like a TSB on that. And he was like,
Yeah.
"No, I didn't know that." And I was like, "You."
Oh yeah.
$15 sensor.
So you're talking to a guy that I did an oil. So I used to have a Trailblazer SS, which was a low point in my life. But
I'm working on one right now. I'm rebuilding the front end on one right now, the diff and everything.
oh yeah, I can do that with my eyes closed because I had the oil pan off of this thing 3 times. So the front diff blew up the first time, second time it had an oil leak, and the third time axle housing and jack shaft failure. Anyway, I swore it was the rear main seal leaking, and it was I cheaped out and bought an aftermarket oil pressure sending unit, and it was spraying this like concentrated, just tiny little stream of oil, and it was just landing at the right part at the seam of the engine and transmission, going into the bell housing and dropping out of the bottom of the bell housing. Torque converter was wet, and I was like, "Oh, I don't want to do a rear main seal." And I don't even know how I found it, but I found it before I pulled the transmission out for the 3rd time. That truck. Oh God.
I will have to say though, never working on an LS, I never took an engine or transmission apart, and I did not know that they had bolts that hold the torque converter through the flex plate, and I'm like, what the are we doing? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And it was so simple, just a drop in motor mount, lock the, make the trans up, dowels, and then whoop, lined up. It's just,
and you can't put the torque converter too far in and blow something up. That actually, I think Honda has the game for torque converter bolts. They have a ring of 6x1.0 bolts. I think 8 bolts on the torque converter that hold the torque converter to the flex plate. And they're all super easy. It takes no time. There's no Loctite. It's perfect.
Hell yeah.
But it's also on a Honda. So
manual transmissions are stuff. You just slide it in.
Yeah, that's the way.
But they're always egg shaped.
What are?
Them trans. I had to do a Mustang, and I had a shallow bottom, and I had to take a 6.0 with a ZF 6-speed on it, and it was like a freaking oval, and to get it to sit flat, it was just a pain in the donkey. You know what?
Yeah.
I do them in my driveway. Come on, man.
I did on the side of the road. What are you talking about?
I did do one on the side of the road in my truck.
Your transmission?
Yeah. Nice. Broke down in Kentucky and we did a transmission on the side of the road.
What if we had a manual
truck?
Huh?
You just happen to have a spare transmission with you?
No, the junkyard up the road had it, and they delivered it to me and everything.
What if we had a 6.7 with a manual trans? How cool
that'd be great. It would be
I would be on board.
Wouldn't that be gnarly?
It'd be amazing.
Would you guys, 131 of you folks, if you had or you currently have a 6.7, would you get it with the 6-speed? Creeper gear? Nah. What would you guys do?
It would be detuned because I don't know of any transmission.
Hey, Mexican trans Emmanuel.
for light trucks that's going to handle that kind of power.
Yeah, I mean, there's transmissions that can deal with that. I mean, look at what's in the heavy, medium, and heavy duty industry. There's all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
The problem is that stuff is going to be too noisy.
Yeah.
There's nothing in the light duty truck industry that's going to take 1,200 foot-pounds of torque.
Oh,
that doesn't mean that the engineers won't try it.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
I mean, I drove
like, you know what? We could just add an extra planet.
I mean,
Granny Low.
Even in my truck, it's detuned.
Granny Low is marketing wanking for first gear. It's
rubbernecking.
Yeah, they're all the same. Like,
yeah. So I drove
believe the myth about granny gear. It doesn't exist.
A buddy of mine he bought brand new I think it was a 2008 F250 two-wheel drive, bare bones, crank windows, and it was a manual. It was a five-floor with a manual. And he came over one day. I was like, wait, they still make manuals in these? And I swear that truck would rip it sideways to 45 miles an hour. I mean, it was a 3/4 ton truck. It didn't care. I mean, it wasn't, I wouldn't call it fast, but it was fun to drive.
I got something that I'd never seen before. One of my subscribers is part of my Facebook group where we communicate and chat. And he said, I just went by the dealer and it looks like this truck was just traded in. This thing's got like 140,000 miles on it. It's a naturally aspirated F-150. But he said, I really want to buy this thing. And what's odd is I've never seen this type of F-150. So he's posting pictures. And when he opens the driver door, it's like a 14 or 15 model F-150. And four-wheel drive is not a selector knob. It's a manual shift in the floor option that he ordered to have put in. And I was like, what? No way. Come on, man.
No way.
And he was like, no, I'm buying this thing. I'm literally going to let them clean this up and detail it. They're giving me a great deal on this thing. It's like 10,000 under what they'd normally, because it's a stripped down version like a utility truck. And it's just beautiful. They're going to put new bed rail plastic on for me and stuff to dress it up. And I was like, wow. I've never freaking seen a newer F-150 like that with the shift in the floor. I didn't even know you can order that way.
Wow.
I have to look that up tomorrow. I have the yard management system that I use. It has all the different interchanges, so all the different drivetrain combinations. I can see all that stuff. But there's so much out there, you don't know what to go look for. But I'm going to go look at that tomorrow. Now I'm interested.
I didn't even know you can order a Super Duty for like under $40,000 until I seen a commercial guy come in and he was like, yep, I want a 19. I want it green. I want I want just basic radio in it, crank windows in it, single seating, whatever. I don't want a crew cab or anything. I want a long bed. I want like the outlet in the back or something like that. Just regular four-wheel drive. And he was like, yeah, it's $3,850 right there out the door. And I was like, what? A Super Duty for that price, spec'd out the way you want it without all the bells and whistles? He's like, yeah, I do all my trucks like this.
Yeah, well, some people still want an actual truck.
The fleet guys could buy F-150 diesels in XL and XLTs, but you couldn't buy it as a normal person. You had to be a fleet guy.
Yeah. Right.
Up until 21, when they put it in everything to get rid of them.
First run. I'm testing out some fonts, but we got some new swag coming. Just
dang, look at that.
Just some, and then this was a PTT wife unit.
What? Brake Clean Mafia.
Pretty sweet.
You guys making it at home or are you ordering them?
No, she did a little runoff custom ink. See what these look like. I'm trying to get a couple of one-offs for myself. Another bubbly.
Did I tell you what? I picked up the Grand Marquis the other day in the town car. It's so nice driving those cars again.
Does Diesel Tech Chris really have an excursion?
He's got a bunch of vehicles. I don't know if he's got an excursion, but I know he's got a limo town car. He's got a regular town car. He may have an excursion. I know he's got a couple vehicles. He's like a low key. He's like a car hoarder like me. He kind of is.
What are you going to do with the Grand Marquis?
I'll keep that one. I'm thinking about doing all the general maintenance stuff on the town car. It's got 253,000 miles on it. Runs like it's brand new. And I'm thinking about selling it. I got too many vehicles at the house. And with that, having the TCI dump pan, huh?
I said, blow it up for a video.
I thought about doing a giveaway. I thought about actually just giving the car away, like kind of like a raffle off or something like that, and then doing something special for a local family with the money and stuff that I get for the car, and just raffling it off and doing something for a local family in need, or one of the local schools or something like that.
Oh yeah.
It runs great though, man. It's
What year is it?
It's an 06 with a 4R70W, but it's got a TCI deep thump pan, Ford Racing 373 gear set. It's drilled and slotted rotors and stuff. And
you should tell me how much you're trying to get for it.
What you wanted?
Well, no, I'm saying on after party we can.
Yeah, we'll talk.
We can talk.
We'll talk. I'm still not. You know how you think about things, and when it starts coming out of your mouth and your ears start picking up what you're saying, you're like, "Fuck, what am I saying?"
Yeah.
Don't let him lie to you. He's looking for a car to take to Florida, to keep in Florida.
Oh.
I would. That would be the Grand Marquis. The Grand Marquis is that's the Grand Marquis is one of those cars that you just, in the condition that it's in, with a 4R75 instead of the 4R70W.
Oh,
with 30,000 miles on it. So it's one that you don't. And you know what's different about the two transmissions is I can drive the town car and it's nice, and I've tuned the transmission to bump up the line pressure and stuff, so it shifts much cleaner and firmer. That was part of the wear that would happen with them, is people that know that lazy, nice, easy shift with those transmissions is what would actually cause that exasperated wear in those transmissions. And Ford did that to give you that luxury experience of not having a vehicle that would shift more aggressive and more sporty. So I changed all that. I moved the line pressure up 15% slowly, a little at a time, because I wanted to see how it would feel first. I went 5%, so I wanted to feel if the trans could take it. Then I moved up to 10%, drove it about a week. And then I moved up to 15%. And I was like, okay, that shift is nice. That's right where I need to leave it. And then I put the TCI deep sump pan and increased the oil capacity and stuff in it. And I was like, man, this thing just drives super, super, super good. And then I started driving the Grand Marquis, and I'm like, dude, the Grand Marquis, I don't even have to do anything to it because it's got the updated B-Fuel trans, and the shifting it almost feels like a sports car, but the shifting compared to the 4R70W, they're two completely different transmissions on their program strategy and the way they work. So I tell people all the time, there's a big difference in the way that the two of them shift. You can be in an 06 and then drive an 07 that has the 4R75W and feel completely different in that car.
Them were bad dudes.
I don't like the 10 speeds in the newer trucks. Guy dropped one off the other day. So some of you guys don't know, I gave my official resignation from the dealership Monday. And I have moved as the general manager to Brighton Automotive. And one of my subscribers came by and brought a 2018 F-150 with a 10-speed, and he just wanted all the maintenance stuff done. He found this thing for $16,000 with 2.7 EcoBoost and 10-speed, and it's like a $30,000, $35,000 truck. He got it for 16 from an auction because it got hit in the rear door, and they put a new door on it and painted it. So they sold it cheap from California. We brought it by, and I did all the maintenance and stuff on it: front diff, rear diff, transfer case, transmission, filter, oil change. Really hooked the guy up. I probably did it about $600 cheaper than what the dealership would have normally done it, but that's just because I can control that side because I'm the boss. So, well, it is what it is because I'm the boss. I'm not doing that to the customers. I can control my matrix and stuff. And then I went out and drove the truck, and I was like, you know what? I sure like my 6-speed transmission in my 2015 F-150, because driving this 2018 with this 10-speed, and you feel the nuances of just the 10-speed transmissions, like the weird shifts up and down sometimes. And even though everything's right, and it's all fresh and it's got a good filter, that's just how those trucks drive. And people, unfortunately, just have to get used to it. I do not like the 10-speed transmissions.
Especially
oof. I mean, all they're doing is hunting for the best ratio.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. It hunts,
terrible. The ones I've
it
driven.
hunts a lot.
Not much you can do about it. It's our wonderful federal government at work.
I noticed that when they bring it back to us to have us clear out the adaptive strategy and let it relearn, there for a little bit, it starts driving great. And the customers is like, wow, this is awesome. But I had one tech say that if you find a customer that gets to a point after you clear the adaptive strategy and they like the way it's shifting, tell them to bring the truck back into the dealership and stop adaptive learn. Leave it alone. Don't let it keep hunting around and doing its thing. And you notice that experience, they enjoy that driving and that shifting much longer for like several more months before it happens again. Because if you don't, they're going to be back in there a month or two later saying the same thing all over again. So I want to try that. I want to eventually have one of us, any of your people or my people that are in the area, come out, let me do that to their truck, and then go drive it for a couple of weeks. And once you get it to where you want it, let me stop the adaptive learn and let's just see if it holds out. Then maybe that's the answer to stopping this thing from hunting around all over the place.
I like that. Stopping the adaptive learn. Interesting. Might be a topic for another session. I wonder if we could use that same strategy for 10-speed. Once it's learned, it doesn't need to learn anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
They might help.
Pub subs. Stop at your local public supermarket and get your chicken tender pub sub. Because I want to try one. Maybe we'll have one next time. Everybody, I appreciate you, as always, every week. You guys come spend your hours time on your Wednesday evening to hang out and talk with the gang, shoot the SHIT, and make fun of DS. And he hasn't really said anything, and I'm kind of worried about him. And Bearded Fortech got a haircut. We'll talk to you guys later. Hope you have a great rest of the week. And